What's going on, everybody? If you've been following my channel, you know that I have been trying to farm up a star medal for quite some time. Still no luck, but in the meantime, we are farming up quite a bit of other gear for our Witch Doctor. Now, I've actually been holding on to this for a while, and that is the Dagger of Darts. You'll see in the secondary there, your Poison Darts and your Fetish's Poison Darts now pierce. That's a pretty cool effect. And then the Carnevil, which is actually back from the 2.0 days. You'll see that your fetishes shoot a poison dart every time you do. So what you can do is you can call up your fetish army if you're running a Zuni set, and you just cast, and you'll see that your fetishes are shooting with you. So that's pretty cool. Now we're going to go over this build with you guys really quick and kind of put a little bit of gameplay together so you can see how it works, and give you a couple small pointers that you might want to keep in mind. And then we'll go over a couple key pieces of gear you might want to look out for when you're gearing up. Piranhas with Pyranado. Again, we're using that so that we can group everything up, and when you're shooting these, you want all your enemies to kind of be in one spot as best they can. And one of the tips we'll go over right now, you'll see that wherever your mouse is, that's where they're going to shoot, and that's going to be kind of, you know, the point where they intersect. Now, if you're trying to hit a large groups, just kind of slowly move that in. And now you see there's a larger spread beyond the point of contact. So you actually saw a very wide fan there of attack. So it's something to keep in mind when you're using the piranhas. And of course, your poison dart, there's the cat making its way into the video. The poison dart with splinters, we're using this. Shoot 3 poison darts that deal 110% weapon damage as poison each. Now that's only going to be yours, so don't worry about that. There's a couple other options you can go with. You could easily, you know, go snake to the face and try and stun stuff, but for sheer damage, we're going to go with that. Big Bad Voodoo with Slam Dance, we're keeping this around. You could go any number of directions with this. You can keep Gargantuan around if you want. We're going to continue to run with this so that every time this comes up, especially for boss fights, we're going to do that extra damage there, and so long as all your fetishes are standing there with you, it's going to do quite a bit of damage. Now your fetish army, obviously very important. We're running this with Legion of Daggers so that we get the extra 3 fetishes, and that's just going to mean more poison darts, and that's very important to the build. You want to get as many poison darts going as you can. Obviously you go from 1 person to 8 people, and then of course the fetish sycophants, which we'll get to here in just one moment. Spirit Walk with Jaunt, this gives you the Spirit Walk for 3 seconds, which can be very important. If you're having trouble staying alive or you need that extra healing, you can always go with Healing Journey, but Jaunt will tend to get you around a little bit quicker, and it'll also kind of keep you alive quite a bit, because your healing is actually going to come primarily from your zombie dogs, and we're going to run with Leeching Beast. Your zombie dogs heal you for 100% of your life on hit with every attack, so that's a good way to keep your health up, and definitely a good way to come around. Grave Injustice, you can run with this, and we're running with this. The only thing that's on cooldown is our Piranhas and our Big Bad Voodoo, so you can come up with that. Technically your Fetish Army and your Summon Dogs are, but you're not going to worry about those too much. They don't die that often. Next up, Pierce the Veil. It's going to increase all your damage by 20%, but your mana costs are increased by 30. Well, I'm only using poison darts, and that doesn't cost mana, so we're good to go. Piranhas, you're not going to be able to use that quick enough to deplete your mana, so don't worry about it. Spirit Vessel, just so that we can have that extra life, especially if you are using this in Greater Rifts, it's very important. And then, of course, it's also going to bring the cooldown of your Spirit Walk down by 2 seconds, so very good thing to have around. Fetish Sycophants. When you hit an enemy with your skills, you have up to a 10% chance to summon a dagger-wielding fetish. Now, those fetishes will also be shooting poison darts, so it's kind of important to get those guys up, so you can get potentially 15 of those up. Now, if you play the general pet build, you're not going to get those as quick, because it's only going to, you know, go from your attacks, which is another good reason why you've got the 3 there. So it's good to keep that in mind, that you want to have some attack speed. You know, your pets are going to attack when you attack, so clearly the quicker you attack, the quicker they attack. So it's good to keep that in mind when you're getting your skills going. Now I have pretty low damage here. I could roll this over to an increased attack speed, or sometimes get an increased attack speed on this. However, I'm holding my gift in case of the star medal. I don't like to have none laying around just in case I find something great. You can certainly roll that on there if you want. Like I said, the Carnevil is very important to get the, you know, the fetishes shooting the poison dart every time you do. A couple things that you can keep in mind when you are gearing up. The best way to run this is going to be with the Zuni chest, boots, and offhand. And as you can see on the chest and the offhand, we do have the increased Fetish Army damage. And you can also run the 2-piece Aug Hilds, which, if you're using a Royal Ring of Grandeur, will turn into a 3-piece to get that extra damage against elites. We're stacking poison damage on here, although if you already have one with physical damage and you know your fetishes are going to get into melee range at some point, you don't necessarily have to roll another one, but it's good to have that around. And we are running the Aug Hild shoulders, and we have Fetish Army damage again rolled on there, very important. My ring here, I could go with another ring, especially one with a socket, but we're going with this just because of the sheer damage boost out of it. We got the attack speed, we got good crit hit chance and crit hit damage, so we're just leaving that on there. Like I said, the Royal Ring of Grandeur, I wish I had a better roll on this, especially one that these do roll with increased attack speed. However, all the Royal Rings that we've had, we've kind of, you know, finagled in some way. So that's why you don't see it on this one. I was using this in our Z DPS build, if you remember that one. We've got the Enforcer gem in there, very good for your pet damage. You can go a couple different directions. Now I've got a, you know, just a regular amulet here with intelligence, crit hit chance, and crit hit damage. Now I'm going with the Zai stun just because you get a chance to stun stuff. You can go certainly any number of directions with that. I mean, you could even go with Simplicity Strength. Now it's only going to apply to yours. I believe that's correct. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. You can go any number of directions. I think a minute ago we were running with Gogox, and that's actually not a bad route to go. We're actually going to go ahead and put that back in. We were testing a few stuff right before this. So you can throw the Gogox in there because the Gogox, you are going to get the chance to gain increased attack speed, so that's very important. And we'll just go ahead and throw that in there. We're testing a couple things there. You can go any number of directions you want. If you have a third socket, feel free to check that out. You can always go, you know, Bane of the Powerful, any of that stuff. Whatever floats your boat. Now, the part where you can kind of change stuff up, and you'll see that I have my Tasker and Theos in my inventory. Now, the increased attack speed is not going to affect your pets unless they go into melee range. Now, they eventually will go into melee range. The best thing is you want to keep them back and to be able to shoot. Now, ever since 2.1, you know, they increased the leash of the pets, so a lot of times, you know, depending on how far away you are, they're still going to be, you know, back there fighting somebody. So there's been a few complaints about that, but you'll get the hang of it as far as, you know, the range that you need to get to, and, you know, being able to cast and move, and, you know, you can do something similar to that, and then they'll catch up. A couple tips there, but we're not running the Taskers because we're running the Kane's 2-piece. Now, if you got a Royal Ring of Grandeur, you'll get a little bit of extra bonus on the 3-piece, which isn't affected, doesn't affect your damage. I need a better roll here, but you can go with the Kane's pants and gloves to get the 2-piece bonus, which is 8% increased attack speed, which can be very, very helpful. Now, the other thing you could do is keep your Taskers on, and if you don't have the Taskers, then, hey, this might work out perfectly for you. But if you have the Taskers, you can also go with the Swampland Waders, because those have the increased poison damage, and it makes for a really effective build. And you can go either direction, whichever floats your boat, whichever, you know, you prefer to go there. The other thing, belt, if you have a witching hour, certainly go that, but if you go a couple different directions, we just grabbed this really quickly because it has a decent roll. Otherwise, could definitely be better. But you can roll Poison Dart onto your belt, so keep that in mind when you're gearing up. Offhand, of course, like I said, we got the Fetish Army there. So that's a couple key pieces of gear that you want to keep an eye out for. For your Paragon points, you want to max your movement speed out in conjunction with your gear. Then you can go ahead and throw the rest into Intelligence for offense. Now, we're doing this a little differently. Crit hit damage still very important. Attack speed after that, if you're low Paragon level and you have that lower points, you might want to see, you know, where your attack speed is, and you might want to go that route. However, critical damage you're normally going to go with first. And then we're putting the rest into cooldown reduction. We could go with crit hit chance, but we're trying to get our Big Bad Voodoo around, you know, as often as possible. You can go any direction you want. If you're not running Big Bad Voodoo, feel free to take cooldown reduction out. Like I said, it will apply to your piranhas, so that's a good thing to keep in mind there. For your intelligence characters, always go with armor first. Resist all second, and then life regeneration after that. If you feel you don't need that life regeneration, feel free to go life next. Next up, life on hit first, very important, then area damage, And then gold fine because you're not really spending resources. So that's the build, guys. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of gameplay for you so you can see just how effective this is and show you guys this in action. So it might give you something that you want to run with a little bit differently. And so stick around for that. So we will go into, oh, as always, Halls of Agony level 3. I'm a dungeon crawler. I love the original. It's good for breaking down doors. Well, we get elites right off the bat. We'll go ahead, and I'm afraid these guys might... And this is where sometimes having the Tasker and Theos comes really into play, especially for wallers, because your darts aren't going to pierce the wall. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. As you can see, we got those elites down very, very quickly. And as you can see, our darts are piercing through these things and just absolutely wrecking them. And this is a way to where we're going to get a little bit of fan damage here. Actually, they're shooting right through the doorway, so that doesn't help much. But when you need to spread it out a little bit, and again, it's going to take a little bit of practice, because as you can see, the fetishes are going to shoot the minute you shoot, and if they don't catch up, you know, this is where the leash part comes into play. And they're back there shooting. We need them up here with us, and that's all different stuff that you'll start to get used to as you play a little bit more. As you can see, with the increased attack speed, and we're actually missing our zombie dogs there, but we have 8 and 15 there, and you're going to see darts shooting all over the place. That's the fun of the build. As you can see, we already knocked down an elite in just a few seconds, so you can see its effectiveness. You can see just how strong this can be. Especially once you start to get the hang of it and figure out position and stuff like that. The gear is not too gear intensive compared to some of the other builds out there, so it's something you can keep in mind when you are running this build or when you are farming up the gear, that you won't always need. There we go. Come on out of here and play with us. So as you can see, these darts are absolutely destroying stuff, and rightfully so, because there are so many of them and they pierce. I don't know. It's a really fun build. Gosh, the pet builds are far more viable in greater rifts. Now, obviously, Jade Harvester is still the top build for doing damage, but if you're looking to have a little bit of fun, you don't have the Jade set, or you don't like the Jade set, and you're looking for a change of pace, maybe this is it. We've got a couple other builds out there, so feel free to check those out. For the Witch Doctor, it seems to be one of the most diverse classes as far as different skills you can run. So feel free to keep that in mind. Feel free to you know, check out that video, or the other videos, I guess, on the channel. If you're not subscribed already, feel free to hit that subscribe button below, and you'll be able to see all the videos that we do, because there are going to be more builds coming, and we are still farming for more gear. And of course, for all future patches, we are keeping that in play. If you like the build, feel free to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of it. I don't know, for you guys, just walk around, shoot stuff, run right through it. Not a bad gig. Look at that. Just absolutely walking through stuff. So very good stuff. So yeah, feel free to let me know what you think in the comments below. If you don't have anything to say, feel free to hit that like button below. And let me know by hitting that below if you like it. And I always appreciate that, guys. Any feedback you guys have to give, anything you might be doing a little bit differently on this build, feel free to let me know. Until next time, guys, happy hunting. We'll see you again.